Hi, my name is Jacob, and welcome to another segment of Raw and Uncut on the Abrasive Media platform. So, if you haven't heard, Helen Zille made another cringeworthy remark in the media this week. And if you don't know where a remark came from, here is a quick synopsis of what happened. So this week in Langa, a neighborhood or town in Cape Town, a fire broke out. And that fire broke out in one of the informal settlements there. And that settlement is Joe Slovo. So many people lost their belongings, their homes, and places to stay. So Zille was asked about it, and her remark was that the people in Langa, and especially in that specific informal settlement, is I think 1,000 times or 100 times better off than people living in other informal areas in South Africa. So from the moment she said that, what happens in the media is that a debate took place. A debate took place around what does it mean and how can you label it. So some people went as far as saying that Helen Zille is tone deaf, and this tone deaf remark comes from that is not a first. This is not the first type of remark that she did. She did one with regards to calling people, children that come from the Eastern Cape to come to school in the Western Cape. They call them refugees. She at one point said that colonialism was a good thing for Africa, and now this specific remark comes. So this is why a debate is taking place currently around how to label Helen Zille's specific remark, and I thought that this is a good opportunity for me also to weigh into what is currently or into this debate, and I think I want to unpack what tone deaf means, but also what it means to be racist in South Africa. So let me start with the term racist. So when you talk about racist and the IST, the ist, then you refer to a person who practices a specific ideology or put something into practice. The person is responsible for it. So that's the ist. So then you have so then a racist would be a person who prescribe or buy into the racial superiority type of ideology and worldview, and then live it. Whether they love that consciously or subconsciously, that's another debate. Then you have racism. So the ism, the SISM, ism. And that refers to the practice, the kind of a larger body of work or practice that is taking place. So if you think about colonialism, then that is a kind of a practice. That specific racist ideology was put to work in a specific way. In the same as apartheid, that specific racist ideology was put to work in a specific way. So in South Africa, apartheid look like this. There was your prohibition of mixed marriage act, meaning that people across racial lines couldn't get married. You had the separate amenities act that divided the public sphere into a non-white area and then a whites only area. You also have the Group Areas Act, and the Group Areas Act took people from places that was declared white only, and then relocated them across various towns and cities in specific places allocated to them. So that is the practice of the apartheid ideology. So that's the ism. So to come back to the specific debate, the utterance or the remarks that Zille keep making, where does it come from? So that's an interesting question if we have to ask ourselves. And it comes from kind of a racist ideology that might be operating in her subconscious. So she might think of herself as a liberal or reform or white person, but racism or is operating because you were doing it and you were part of it on a daily basis. You live it. Let me put it differently. Think about driving a car. So when you drive a car, the first couple of times you do it, then you are really conscious about it. But the more you do it, then you become unconscious and then you do it instinctively. So it becomes part of your memory. Now think about racism in the same specific way. So apartheid was exactly that. So when you divide the public into whites only and blacks only, and you give white people privileges, and you disadvantage black people, then it becomes a practice. You become used to the privilege and every benefit of that comes from that specific practice. That goes in a subconscious way, the same as the car. So you start living that specific racism out in a subconscious level. So it is in that context that we have to look at Helen Zille's remarks. So for me, this is not an issue of tone deaf. She is not tone deaf. And this tone deaf narrative is something really invented by News 24. That is the kind of narrative that they want there in the public. What they don't want to say is that Helen Zille's remark is part of her subconscious, that she's subconsciously still living out the kind of racist environment that the city of Cape Town is providing for people to live here. For example, if she knew anything about apartheid and she lived here for many years, then she would be aware that Langa was a result or part of a result of a racial act that gave existence to Langa. But later, when the forced removals took place in the city of Cape Town and people from District 6 was forcefully removed, then the black people that lived in District 6, some of them ended up in Langa. So the apartheid and colonial acts had one specific goal, and that was to impoverish black people and to elevate white people to a position of privilege where they are masters over every black body in South Africa. So that was apartheid and colonialism's laws and their specific framework. And they succeeded it. So the people that lived in Langa or in District 6 had good lives, but the moment apartheid was institutionalized, they were removed from their decent places of living and put into horrible conditions like Langa. And then they were systematically impoverished through racist ideologies. So now coming back to what Zille actually meant by saying is that that the black people living in Langa has it better off than the black people living in other parts of South Africa. So if you think in that particular way, then you think in it in a very racist way, because that is exactly that you exactly implying that at least the discrimination that people in Cape Town experience is better than those in other parts of South Africa. So then what you also then imply, or not imply, that you at a subconscious level admit that what people are experiencing still in Cape Town is largely racism, and that racism is rigorously promoted, is still rigorously promoted by the DA in the city of Cape Town. That is how the way the city of Cape Town look is still pretty much an apartheid cityscape. There's not much of change since 1994 in the integration. But that's a conversation for a completely another segment to going deeper into it. So, if there's anything that you can take away from this particular segment, is that we have to be more careful we need to be more careful when we encounter specific narratives in the media. So is Helen Zille tone deaf, or is Helen Zille racist? For me specifically, Helen Zille is racist. If this is a once-off thing that happened, in that particular case, I could have maybe said that she's tone deaf. But it happened so many times over the past 10 years. That means is that at a subconscious level, she still ties into the idea of white superiority, and she still and the reason why she still ties into it, because she is still a privileged figure in South Africa. So my heart goes out to the people of Langa, especially those in Joe Slovo who lost their belongings. It's difficult picking up your pieces after an event like this. So I appeal to anyone who could sponsor and who can help out. Please go and help out. I was recently in that specific street where the fire took place, and there was not even proper a sewage system. The sewage was just down that specific roads, and kids were playing there. So the city of Cape Town is not going to fix the neighborhoods where black and colored people are staying. So I think it's up to us to go and fix. So we're not just going to fix informal settlements, but we're also going to fix all the other neighborhoods, and we're going to do it. We're going to do it ourselves. So this is my appeal to anyone who is watching it. Please help out. Please help out Langa. Please help out on the Cape Flats areas where the gangsterism is taking place. Please help out wherever you can, because you heard it from Zille. People living in that conditions at least are better off than black people and colored people anywhere else in South Africa. So thank you very much for watching and supporting the channel. I appreciate it. And until we see each other again, thank you very much.